Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to combine a couple of techniques that I have seen and a couple of my viewers have kind of requested I give a go. So the first technique I'm going to be using today is the triple stamping technique. Now this is where you take the kind of 3 pieces of paper. I have used this Infinity Dies rectangle set. This is a great die set to invest in. It gives you 18 dies and they are all super close together, which means that you can get really good layering. So I've chosen kind of red, black and white for the colors of this card, and I'm going to be stamping on the red instead of the white. So the white is going to be my layering portion, and I have got a layering portion for each one of my rectangles. So this is basically where the triple stamping part comes in, as there's going to be 3 kind of layers to the card. But I just want to stamp on the red one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of removable adhesive on the back of these rectangles and layer them up perfectly where I want them to go. Then I'm going to use a flower stamp set. You could use any stamp set at all. This is a bit of an old one, but I will see if I can find it for you and link it down below. And then I'm just going to stamp these flowers all over. Now I am pushing nice and hard with the acrylic block, and of course you could choose to use a stamping platform or a MISTI stamping tool or any one of those to help you do this and get a really good impression. However, it doesn't matter too much, because the way that we are going to layer it up with the white rectangles will hide any of those imperfections that you find you have. So remember, we just used the temporary adhesive, the removable adhesive. So I pulled apart those 3 red pieces and then I'm going to layer up each one onto the white rectangles. And again, I like using the liquid glue because it gives you that time to move them around and get them perfectly centered up. If you're a person that does have trouble with centering up layers and things, I do suggest liquid glue. If you're nice and confident and find it easier than working with a wet medium, then double-sided adhesive is perfectly fine, or a tape runner or something like that. But I definitely find that it helps me make sure my layers are looking the best that I can get them. Then once you've put the white layers on, you are going to line up the flowers again with where they were originally stamped, except for there will be that tiny wee white layer in between them. So you want there to be as much continuity as you can possibly get. Now using these 2 dies here, I think this actually maybe came in a 4 die set. I die cut some out of the black cardstock, the red cardstock, and I actually cut one out of vellum there, but I've removed it from the picture now because I soon changed my mind. Now I have some pigment ink from Hero Arts. This is the Unicorn pigment ink. And I'm just going to use a finger dauber to go around the outside of the very petals, just of the red. I'm not going to go on the black. And then I will layer all of these up to become one nice big flower. I am bending them up a little bit as I go with my fingers, just to again give it a little bit of dimension. And you can kind of see there I have kind of creased a little bit each petal with my fingers. There's lots of tools that can help you do this as well, but I find it just as easy to pop around and kind of gently bend each petal, not so much that the cardstock kind of cracks and looks like it wasn't meant to be there, but just enough so that it gives a little bit of dimension to the flower. So there you see, I have finished that up for the minute and I'm going to let the glue dry. This is where I decided to get a little bit crazy. So I wanted there to be something else happening on this card, and this is a very special card. So I am drawing a couple of lines in with a pen. I just kind of eyeballed where I wanted them to go, and then I'm going to use a ruler and a cutting blade to cut through all of those layers. You can see I have a piece of foam underneath, and that's just to catch it and make sure I don't ruin my surface. But yeah, this is where I decided to bring in the other technique, and at this point to say I was a little bit nervous is probably an understatement. But I'm going with it. So I have cut all my pieces and now it's just a matter of kind of putting it all together. But first, as I said, this is a special card. So I am making this card for one lady in particular for her birthday. So I am going to stamp out happy birthday using the Kelly Creates stamp sets. These are a very affordable, cheap stamp set, and I have gotten so much use. I have bought several of them, and these are becoming my favorite go-tos. So I have stamped out the happy birthday message, and now this is the lettering stamp set that I'm going to use, and I am going to spell out this special lady's name. And her name is Lisa, so if that's you, you might be receiving this card today on your birthday. So happy birthday, Lisa, and I hope that you like this card. Yeah, as I said, I put together a couple of different techniques that I had seen and people requested that I give a go. So yeah, I really enjoyed putting it together. But here is where I kind of started thinking it looked a bit plain. So I'm just taking a piece of masking paper just to hold those two corners where I needed them to go so that they were lined up perfectly on the black base. Adding a little bit of double-sided tape, and then this is some lace washi tape. Now this is a really kind of nice detailed washi tape, and I want to stick it the kind of non-sticky side down so that that will obviously be facing up in the end. And because of the pattern on the washi tape, it's nice and easy to line up. So I'm just going to pop it down and it will adhere down to those sticky double-sided tape that I laid down each side. I'm going to trim up the corners so that they are nice and neat, and then once I flip it over, I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back, adhere it down to my card front so that I know that everything is nice and taut and in the right place where it should be, and then once that has dried a little bit, I can remove off the low-tack tape from the front, which is just a piece of masking paper. Then I can adhere that whole thing onto my card base, which is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch Nina Solar white card base. Glue down my flower right down in the corner, which I thought about putting it in the center, but I feel like up there looks much better. Add a little enamel dot to go right in the center, and then this card is done for today. Thank you so much, Lisa. I hope you love your card, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.